This is Dave. Are you guys able to hear me? Anyone's in the room that can hear me, can you just answer in there? I've got a one person. Okay, we got a few. Okay, good. Just want to get that out of the way. Andrew's doing the live training event today, so he is tied up. I guess yesterday's event went very well, so the students were able to grasp a lot of the concepts, so that was good. We'll go right to it here. NASDAQ daily, you could see we had a big sell-off the last few days. It tried to bottom out. Today we're having another pullback down. Retest, as they say. We're definitely hanging in this area. I think we can get up to 43.50, assuming everything holds here. Actually, this price action is kind of weak. If this was a bottom, although yesterday seemed to be a struggle getting out of in this area, and then you could see we couldn't take it out overnight that high, and then on this recent move we couldn't take that out, so could gravitate down and test a low or even test yesterday's low. Should be interesting today. We'll see. I'm still looking to buy any pullbacks. See over here if we can get a decent pullback. Look at the S&P, see if there's any clues there. So it's slightly different. Sometimes you pick up stuff that's different. Daily's pretty much the same. 4 hours pretty much the same. To me, the 1 hour looks a little more bullish, but could have to do with crude. Although crude's getting beat up a little bit today. S&P just, I think it's got to work through this. Wait for a pullback to buy. Crude. Daily ran into trouble now at these different areas. You could see on the 4 hour, now we're taking out that yesterday's pullback. I think we could hold around 49.40. Or even in this area, we'll go to shorter time frames. Go to 15-minute. Seems to be some support here, and then to the 5-minute. We're below the band. Got clipped on a long and then caught a decent short. Go through the trades. There was the cover at 69. 10 more cents lower. Trying to bottom here. NASDAQ, I think, needs to get a little bit lower. Lost a couple, 3 points here. On a long, let this Okay, I'm back. I don't know, lost connection there. You can see the price action now with the Nasdaq and S&P kind of hanging in that lower area. Crude is backing and filling like we've talked about in the past, so let's see what. You look on the we'll see if it can get a little bigger move going here. You make a low. Well, let's just look at this chart here. You make a morning low. I actually have to step back. We had yesterday's low, the grind rally, overnight sell-off, 2 tests now of those sell-offs. Actually 3. I might even call it 4. Here's 1 test. Here's 2 tests. Here's 3 tests. Here's 4 tests. So we have to 307. You got to give it a little wiggle room sometimes. As we know, the Nasdaq can really move around a ton. Not sure if it's out of the water, out of the woods yet. Could be. So what you start to do if you want to work into jump back a couple time frames, get the 15-minute. We'd like to see it take out the high in this move. Not sure it's going to do it in the first crack. There's still a lot of overhead here, so go back to the 5-minute and the 1-minute. Let me see here on the really like to see it blast off, test that high right now. I mean, you could see how powerful it was in the past, but We're getting pretty extended here. Could go higher, but we're flat. Plus one. Well, I'll keep this up on the. We can see how the NASDAQ goes. I think it's going higher, but we've had some struggles up in here, so I like to have the 2 lot on. But there's something about this pattern when you look, especially on the NASDAQ made this low. They made lower low. That could really wash out the sellers, but let me just do a quick sound check. Am I loud enough? Can everyone hear me? Okay. Thank you. So if anyone has any questions, let me know. But really, you want to have exposure when you're trading. You want to be able to actually be in the marketplace. Now, we've talked about with the time risk. That is obviously something that's pretty important. So you could have bought this here. Let's just look on the chart that we see where the trades have been. You could have bought. So here was the entry. You could have bought here. Watch it go all the way up, thinking you're going to make a ton. Today's the bottom day, and it's going to keep rallying. Sells off to your down pretty good. Back up slightly. Remember, this was the entry point. So then you got up again, then you were down, and then here's the entry. You can hold it for 1, 2, 3, 4.5 minutes, or you can hold it for an hour and a half. Same dollar amount. So ideally, we missed this morning move. Want to let the market play out. Now the second move is definitely an easier trade. But really looking at it, this should rally up. Looking at over here, this price action, you'd want to see it take that high out. Still think it could. It's kind of flagging up here. We talk about basing in time, not in price. So it can hang out here for a while. And then take a test of the high. Seems like it should do that. Let me clean up that chart. And we'll see it come back in. Remember yesterday, there was definitely a lot of bulls jumping in, and the spikes were just amazing. I thought I saw probably the one it jumped 10 points in pretty much one print. So can be pretty amazing moves when you get near crescendo bottoms. Now you'd want to see. Hello? you'd want to see it, the price action really ramp quickly like it did this morning. If it doesn't take out that high over here, then that could be a little bit of trouble. See if we could pull in a little bit. So talking about trading, we've been talking about this recently even. The key is when you get these kind of wild swings, you want them to, you want to stay unemotional. You want to just stay calm and focused. I think it's going to do this. I'm going to go to here. When it gets that, you have to have an action plan. We're still working on adding in. Andrew's on the road show, and I'm actually in Florida right now, so we definitely will want to start tightening up the calls on the morning call. Gives you a pretty good perspective of the kind of, I look at it like a game plan. So as of right now, the game plan was that you'd be looking to buy on pullbacks because we're trying to do a bottoming process. The fact that we're kind of hanging out here, it's kind of neutral because you would think that if this is a crescendo bottom and this is a point where they're really jumping in and want to be buying, then this market should really, in this move, take out the high. If this were to go down now and go back below our entry price, then that would change my mentality of what I thought of the market. Same thing about talking about driving down the dark road at night. You're just looking at the headlights. Right now I'm just looking at the price action. I can assume a couple things today. We're either going to bottom or not. We're going to, that's, and so this price action is a weak bottom so far. We should make a higher high. So we'll see on this this little kind of drooping price action here on the NASDAQ 1 minute. We'll see if we can get a turnaround. But as of right now, it's actually looking pretty heavy. Yeah, it's really coming in pretty good. So now you've got a pretty choppy market, and you start looking at that. Although the S&P is hanging in there better, but you definitely see this kind of choppy market, which was actually pretty similar to yesterday. Actually, yesterday, even though there was a decent rally, for the 15-minute, you can see how it was rally, got beat up, new high, beat up, and just very much call it a pretty strange rally. I mean, it was a struggle, and we barely got back. I think I remember talking yesterday in the room saying, we were down here, that there's stocks, they close here and then they open up down here. That's a gap. But typically gaps get filled. So the fact that the gaps got filled, that's a pretty common occurrence. But you would think that right now we would be pretty gung ho on the bullish side if all the bears got out of the way, and it's, the price action is what a bull would be looking for. There really is, when I talk bull and bear, that there really is, that's the kind of mentality you have to have. It's an epic struggle, and they're just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, which is why when you look at traders, a lot of times athletes are the best. They're used to it. It's kind of bred into their mind. as an athlete, you're either winning or losing. So this pattern, we should have kind of took that out, but take out that high, but we'll see. Give it a little wiggle room. We'll see if we can get some decent price action here that would climb back on the bull bandwagon. There we go, trickling higher. Sometimes I like to go, especially in these type of moves, you got to get really fine-tuned. You got to go the 1 minute I missed that arrow. That's a low risk trade. That could definitely take out this top. Let's see if we can get a pullback. That was 14. I'll leave that 1 minute up. I just think we need that right now. Plus the volatility has really increased last couple days. Got to go with the flow. The market's quiet in summer hours and holiday hours. You get in there and you chip away, and then when you get a faster moving market, you got to take what you can get out of the market. That's why we also adjust our profit targets and stops. Crude kind of lost sight of that one. You can see holding under that band. Yeah, I like that type of pattern. I think it can get back up. 30 minute looks good. Even held on the 1 hour. Could get back to engulf this whole bar. There's the Baker Hughes rig count at 1 o'clock Eastern. If it can do, that's the part when you think about news, like the news came out about the bill was higher than expected, but you have the military action in the Middle East, so you kind of get people, it's not that there's any risk that there could be a problem there, but in the Middle East and, closing off the straits or whatever, but I think that the bears are weak-handed, and that's what caused the massive run-up the last couple of days. So when you look at that, and a news catalyst, a type of event that causes a massive move in a market, you look at this a 1 hour chart, so you're just looking in a few days. $10 rally in crude. It's only over 25% move. So what caused it? You have to think of, there's different things. They had less bearish news, although I don't know, these bills are still pretty good, but the other news was that in the Middle East, so that got the bears that were, bears are people that are short, so if they're weak-handed, they're covering on, you could see this is spike. If you're a value investor, if you want to think of it that way, and you're looking to buy that, that's the change in the contract, so you can ignore that. That spike, that spike. These type of spikes is short covering. A natural buyer, you'll see it kind of climb steadily, but those kind of spikes like that are short covering. So this was a lot of just clearance of the shorts out of the market based on a news announcement. It shows how weak the shorts really were. Just can't seem to get going on this NASDAQ. So the trader, you look at different areas. Shorter term traders, people ask about scalping, swing trading. If you're swing trading, you'd still be long a unit from our trade from before. Scalpers, you would look for these short-term oscillations. You're on a 1 minute. I definitely would be taking any pullbacks, especially these arrows, if you're a short-term trader. S&P on the bottom right seems a little stronger. So if you could buy with the stop at 17. So risk 3 points. That recent bar's low. But the buying pressure is, you could see it's pretty tepid compared to what we've seen. And that starts to show up when you look at like a 4-hour chart. Although I could see a super spike coming. So the key is when you're in a 4-hour downtrend or the market is more bearish, the short covering rallies are fast. We've talked about that. But the type of, the rallies like this are slow and grinding and steady, and that's really that's really kind of indicative of the higher time frames. This is a 1 minute. Let's go out to 1 hour. 1 hour definitely in a downtrend, although I think we have a short squeeze coming pretty soon. That high was 20. Let's see if it can. So now it's like Andrew would talk about, he likes to go to the 5 minute, and he would keep dragging stop. You could do the same strategy even on a 1 minute. So if you want to be real aggressive, if you were long with that, the long, I think I said at 20, your stop was 17, you're risking 3 points. You just keep dragging your stop up. Now your stop's at almost 20. I'd like to see this get to here and take out the high. Crude's also going, so that could help out. Yeah, see, S&P took out its high already. We'll see if the NASDAQ can do it. What level it is. Kind of ran into trouble there. Weird, it's like that spike. Spike and came down. See if it works higher. So we'll have to see if it keeps stair stepping higher. Like if you followed your stop to the low, you would have been stopped out at 22. See if we can get a pull back in that area and hold and keep going. Crude's worn out. It only has a $1 range today so far. So from a kind of a fun perspective, you look at higher time frames. Okay, let's see. You would assume that it would run into trouble up here. There's overhead, so people who said, "Oh, the bottom's in," and they start buying up in here, and then got wiped out, and they're still holding. If they're nervous, you could see that they would start, once it got to underneath here, people that bought in this range here, you can see start selling. So it's overhead supply. And then it broke out. People are like, okay, I'm selling. And then now it's even going higher and I'm selling. But you could see the selling is becoming less intense. So we'll see. But it's still, it has to really work through this overhead supply. It took out 17. I think that's really bearish. It's actually getting pretty heavy right now. Let it play out. Minimize this. Here we go, back and fill and see if this can hold and go. I don't know. To me, it seems like it's definitely running out of there was bulls and this thing was going to really start to ramp. We took out a high on the S&P and it just completely fell apart. We'll see if it can one more time work through that. So we'll kind of watch that areas. And back in fill. It's an as it can get going now. Or it keeps running into that overhead. I think it has to still catch up to the S&P, so it should take out that 43.30 area. You could see like yesterday or even 2 days ago or yesterday on some of the parts where when the bears are still in control, you get those voracious down moves that are just, well, we've seen it. You know, this kind of stuff. And then now the down moves get accumulated. So large funds, billion-dollar funds are accumulating there because they have to buy literally millions of shares. So when they see pullbacks like this, that's them accumulating all in this area. If they're going to continue to accumulate and all the short-term traders are coming in trying to short it on rallies, once those short-term traders give up, that's when you get the big spike where we can see 70. We're at 20 right now, 50 handle spike. It's very possible this afternoon. Definitely possible. Not the best price action in the world right now, but we'll take it if you're a bull. So we're up a little bit on the day, and then what we want to do is wait for the right opportunities and then be able to build on that profit. So right now on this NASDAQ, it's just kind of hanging out. We're going to go back to that 1 minute just to see if there's any more opportunity. A lot of times you see those rate of change lines in the red. So over here, that spot, as these red bands come up, I've seen it many a time where that's just the rocket fuel that's needed. See if it happens this time. You also start to run at the time of day though. It's almost 11:10 here in East Coast. On a Friday, so if people start to get out of Dodge, as they say. slow grind. See how crude's big down push here is taking down the rest of the markets. They are pretty correlated. So you want crude oil, though, going up on demand, not Middle East war. That's for sure. See if the when crude bounces you, that's when you get this equities to bounce again. Someone asked, how do you make the determination of taking out the high and low? Well, you can see on the chart, there's different highs. So there's the yesterday's high, there's the overnight high, and then the more important day because of the volume is the intraday, like today's since the open. So those trades are more important because of the volume and it's current. So typically you want to see this is today's trading day high versus an overnight high. Big difference because when you look at the volume, overnight there's very little volume going on. See if we can get crude bounce and then get equities going. Slow and steady. So slow and steady. It does get boring sometimes. It's good. It means you're looking at the market right. You're not frantic. You're not excitable. You're not randomly guessing. Calm, cool, and collected, and watch the market do its thing and put your trades on. There's the breakout. Didn't even wait for the red band to hit. Got close enough, and that pushed it up. Crude is kind of interesting here. This pattern is definitely interesting if it's bottoming. You don't want to see this kind of up move and then have it come all the way back. But crude, as we say, does whatever it wants. Breaks all the rules every day. Just got to stay flexible with it. But once you get into a type of an uptrend coming on crude, these kind of pullbacks are decent areas to buy in. Getting close to the day high on the NASDAQ. So usually what happens is the old school traders are in there and they do tricks. There's stop. Look, there's one contract traded at the day high, which was pre-market. So you'll see tricks where they'll print a high, bring it down. A lot of different games they play up at the tops. They're stop hunting. The way it's hanging up here versus spiking up aggressively and then falling down again, how it's just this price action here is strong for the bull side. Like even if this were to sell off to here, these guys that are either long here will add, or they've been wanting to buy and they've been waiting, they'll buy that dip. So we'll see if it can dip back down. There it goes. Yeah, that's when it gets near day highs, kind of falls down pretty quickly. This is going to take out that high. This will hold probably right pretty close to in here. And that means you could even see now we have a wick. See, breakout, sold off, buyer step back in. Breakout, sold off, buyers stepping back in. Breakout, sold off. It's kind of a staircase or stair step type pattern. Bulls are definitely in control until we take out this low. At time of day though, like I said, it's getting near lunchtime, so they printed their be close to the high here. Tied it to the tick. So have it come back down. Oh, there goes crude. Hopefully Andrew and the crew are along out on the left coast. You could see how when you start to look at higher time frames, you go to a shorter time frame that's giving you, like we use Bollinger Bands, you could use whatever you want. But to me, if you've got a 5-minute, we're near the gold bands or you're looking to buy, if you're buying, where are we at here? You buy in this area, got easy 20 cents, low risk trade, piece of cake. As it kind of fell down, it can get back up now. just hanging out here. At low 2025. Like to see it to hold there to be bullish still. No conviction today, either side. Yesterday there was, today not yet. Still early. There we go, I'm back. So now we seem to be holding in that area. We'll see the magic if it can take out the high this time. Pull up the ladder. Four points away. I don't know. Awfully quiet out there. I usually prefer the, as you've probably seen if people have been in here long enough, that kind of the faster moving trades. Yeah, we like to see it hold even here, 21.75. Sure it's going to be able to do it. Let's go through the other charts. I have not covered those yet today. You can see the carry trade and the S&P came back together again. That was the 2-day cratering, and the S&P is the black line. So we follow that spread trade pretty closely. Oil and the dollar. The dollar is the candlesticks, and oil is here. You can see how the dollar had its swoon after the Fed, and then now it's definitely bottoming, starting to rally. So it's kind of holding down crude's rally also. One other spread chart. Oh, that's for the euro. All right, let's go back to I'll pull up the other commodity charts, but those are probably pretty compelling. Same deal. There's been some decent moves in the dollar, so that drove a lot of the commodities recently. couldn't do it at this juncture. Going back in, let's see if it can get, let's go to the higher time frames. Classic double top. For me, the value area, if it can get back down. If it goes too far down, that's obviously not so hot. I think somewhere in this area, 14. Any further down, it's kind of bearish. Yeah, when you start to step out, this was yesterday's rally. Until we take out yesterday's high at 30, basically 31. This market's in correction phase. I don't think, I'm going to probably say right now we're not going to have a wrap-up call, although I know a lot of, or a large group of you guys are out in Sacramento at the live trading today, so live trading event. So looking out for the close. I have to see what I thought yesterday I had S&P. I look in the other charts. The 230. So I had a close looking for 50 and it closed at 48.5. So it definitely held to those different levels yesterday. Let's go to today. This is going to be a tough one. $44. 2044 would be the close. I would think we can get and close up above here, but we'll watch it. We'll hit some trades. All right, thanks a lot. We'll see you guys next weekend.